a minute.
Traction engine, and they're all looking at me very oddly. You can't hear me. You can hear me. I'm sorry. I do apologise. I always get abuse from these guys, but I love it and they love it. But they love giving me the abuse. I love getting it. It's when they're not rude to my face. That's when I worry about it. But there is a contrast. It's not being cold at me now. Where's my mum? Oh, she's over there. English Princess is a steam tractor, light haulage. Avalana is an Aveling compound traction engine, so this is for the agricultural work in farms, thrashing the soil, baling, all that, and also able to complete the job where it needs to be. Owned by Tony Sedman family, presenting it to us and throwing coal at me. And Tony and family also own Cinderella behind, which is perhaps an example of what Avelings are more famous for. Aveling and Porter of Rochester made more steamrollers than any other company in the UK. In the maroon livery, new with a roof on it this season, and presented by Andrew Tatton and his other half today. But Aveling and Porter is pretty much synonymous. If you say steamroller, people will say Aveling and Porter, and that's what you get. There's a lot of these engines for working right into the it's presented as it would have been with Staffordshire Council. So I've now moved on to the left-hand end of the arena, the top end of the arena where the engines came in, as some of them are now starting to go. and we're passing a Fowler steamroller. This one owned by Joe and Black with their wife on the boat plate. This engine spent some of its life in a playground and has been extensively restored. You know, a lot of old machinery was put into playgrounds when it was no longer wanted in the 60s, and then as health and safety and other allowances came in, these machines were taken out of playgrounds and fortunately for us moved into preservation, and really nice to see an engine so nicely put together there. So thanks Joe and Ricky, nice to see you. But of course another type of engine is a new build. Not every engine made it into preservation, so what's passing us me now is Bob Bailey and Kev with Bob's new build Foster steam tractor. This engine is less than 10 years old, and it represents a type of steam tractor that no longer exists in full size. So, very nice to have it with us, but it's also not half as worn out as the others. And as we pass these two, there are two more Sentinels you can see in the middle of the arena, just as I stand in front of you. These price is red. It's an S4 type, so it has the engine mounted underneath the body, and then a prop shaft driving through to the back axle. That's presented by George Varney. And then having its litter is just established, so County Durham, standing in front of the S4, being established, there we are. Yes, I'm talking about you. Hello. Have you got an ice cream as well? Where's mine? Don't tell me James West bought you that one as well, did he? So I'm just going to make my way across the traffic in a minute. I'm going to wait for Foremost to go past first. And also mention another member of our family, just because I can. And so the Fowler steamroller on the other side of Foremost is the wreck of the Hesperus, owned by my brother-in-law, Ed Jones, who's driving the engine, and he's got my niece, Neris, is also, she's steering this afternoon. Ed has had this engine spent half 20 years or more and has restored it indeed from the wreck of the Hesperus into a classic 1960s presentation of a working steamroller. So I'm just going to cross over, making sure I don't get run over by Mr. West, having been rude about him earlier. Going round the back of Head and Neris. Hi guys, got you in it. With another iteration of the steam engine in the Sentinel steam car. And also with you guys, the Sentinel steam car island, and it's not dirty at all. You can see the family on the engine there, driving off the car, are wearing normal clothes. They do not appear to be wearing fake attire. But the Sentinel steam car, beautiful, you glide anywhere, and I don't know why the steam car hasn't really taken on. They're still powered by the same sort of engine. They don't burn coal, they burn kerosene or petrol. You can just smell a little bit of it as it goes past. But very much the gentleman's and ladies' way to travel. Another Avon and Porter engine here, Paul Woodcock of Market Raven. Paul's had the engine about 20 years I think now, and very much spent a lot of time and effort getting it back into condition. Well, we talked about every start of the presentation. Another engine there, the Shamrock Crowley with Wallace and Stevens Panther, always beautifully presented. Driven on the road to Shrewsbury this weekend, and you would never tell. A lot of these engines have driven here on the road because we still can. Many of them are over a century old, but they are still road legal. I take my tax reminders to the post office, but it's not that they don't charge me any money, and they give me nothing in return, but I am legal on the road. So all these engines are road legal. Also done extensive work. He's replaced the boiler barrel, he's restaged the firebox, he's done a lot of boiler work and mechanical work to it, but it still looks just as it's come off a road making job. Followed by a stalwart of the society, Steve Milnes. Steve and Rosemary have been involved with the captive side for 50 years, and it is very soon coming to their 50th anniversary of owning Lady Hesketh. Lady Hesketh was built as what's called a convertible, so she can be be a steam tractor as well as a steamroller, so you can change it from one to the other. And very unusually, Steve and Rosemary present it as a steamroller. Most convertible engines are now in steam tractor form. Perhaps one day they'll be able to show how they were converted between one to the next. So I'm back round to the left of the commentary box now, passing another Aveling roller. There's nothing to say that any Aveling rollers are anything wrong with them at all, but in fact there's far more anything wrong with Aveling rollers. This one is a good engine. It's a compound, it's got a piston valve compound, and so these cylinders, there are two of them at the front, and looking at it, I think it's also on rubber tyres, isn't it, from what I remember. It is on rubbers, so bear in mind that our road surfaces are quite hard now with tarmac, and the rubber tyres enable it's kind of ostensibly round the shows in this part of the world. There's Stuart Tomlinson and Elsa again with my daughter Charlie on the steering wheel. Yes, I did say you. And then another example of a phone here, phone agriculture engine. This one for home use, very similar to Richard Hesbrook's that we talked about across the back. Very high stepping engine, very big 7-foot back wheels. These will shift, they really will move. Very impressive machines. And whilst we're here, our treasurer, the Ball family, with Annie, a Fowler steamroller. And this engine is new into the area from Aberdeenshire. It's come down from Scotland this year, so it's its first season with us here at Shrewsbury. It's lovely to see. And this one has what's called tar spraying gear on it. It's got a pump on the other side. Another Fowler Road engine from family Arthur Henton in Leicestershire, not just Twycross, Leicestershire, Warwickshire border. They've had engines for decades, not quite centuries, but decades, and the Henton family have driven it over to be with us this weekend. Moving past the control box, back to other engines that you can see. The rest of them start to leave. Foden D-type tractor, looking resplendent in the sun. I just think paparazzi. 2845 and 2846. They both worked for Isaac Wald of Walls in Lancashire. Isaac Wald were a directional sawing and rolling contractor. That is their house style of roof, and they have a toolbox on the back. They have a full length roof because of course it's very wet on the west coast of Lancashire, and these two engines worked until the 1960s and were part of the early preservation movement. The first engine was bought by David Goddard, one of our long-time members, and the second engine is owned by the Staffordshire and Cheshire Traction Team. So if you can't find an engine yourself, named after political characters behind the logo. A bit of British history in there as well, a bit of military history. Just across the way, it's not the same people that race Formula 1 cars, it's not the same people that make buggies and kids. The McLarens and these also make traction engines in the same city as Fowler's. We testified that quite often the manufacturers put together, they function together in the cities. Locally, McLaren bought brothers, sisters, etc., parents, everybody pulls something together and helps them. Just moving back around the top of the right-hand side of the arena, a couple more Fodens. We saw the Foden traction engine of Richard Hesbrook, but these are John, the Nippon Kid, that's another steam tractor there, made for a showman. That engine was restored from boiler and cylinders over the past 10 years. Ken likes the deadline. His deadline was to make it to this show a couple of years ago, and his father, Steve Mills, who has an 84-hour week on the engines in order to get it to Shrewsbury in time. Just another one of those epic stories of getting these things together. So the Art of Man, Highway Wars, very critical machine. Again, restored from pretty much Fowler T3 and Hailing and Porter, and somewhere I've seen Chris Arrowsmith with his Brown Foster steam tractor, which is again a 1930s engine, and very fast on the road. Chris refuses to let the engine go on a low loader if he doesn't have to, and it's named by its former owner, the late Dave Harding. It's known as Iconopin. If you see it on the road, it certainly can. If you want an example of just how daft some of the previous steam engines, Chris rode the engine a few years ago, about 10 years ago now, he rode Ranworth down to Sussex in a day, through the middle of London.
Having a word with Dan. Doing his photographic bit, responsible for the programme, for the society, your souvenir programme. He published it himself, got it printed, etc. The actual quality of the pictures, all the textures, well designed it turned out. We always have a very good feedback from our souvenir programme, which is called for the rally, the 2-day rally. So well done to Steve for that. See another photographer there on the exit gate taking his pictures. Over a few years, there he is. Fire pictures.
Steve Collins, please can you come to rally control next to the commentary point where your son is waiting for you.